Hey, shall we start? Today we have students. So we can could understand, but again, we have to continue our life when the weekends are there. So, for short, we have to continue our life. Maybe the weekends are long, short, or any other thing that will occur. But life needs to be like taken forward, and we have to progress. We have to progress in our life. While others are enjoying their vacation, we need to work. That's the real success. I have seen that. When I was a student like you, long back, about 20 years back, when I was selected to the university in Delhi, at that time it was the Department of Accounting, the BSAA accountancy degree of University of Australia. So it was a time that only the island rankers would be accepted to the Department of Accounting. So there were about 150 students, so what were ranked. So I hail from Madra indeed. I had a district rank of 2 and an island rank of 70. That was my situation. But I had a dream. What was my dream? To get first class. That was my dream. And then someday to become a lecturer. Another dream. So worked quite very hard. While others were enjoying their life, having long weekends, and having a lot of other entertainment involved, what I did was, I studied. Studied. And once I could remember that there was so as you do now, we had our internship as well at that time. So from third year, we had to undergo an internship. So what I did was I came to the lectures in the evening, first around 5 to 8, and from 5 to 7:38, we were undergoing, we had lectures. And did I go home? No. I went to a study room that was almost 24 hours open. And from 8:30, I just had a plain tea and some dinner from outside. I was bored again. And what I did was I went to until 11:30, 12 midnight was done with my friends. There were 2, 3 friends who were like-minded, and we studied. And around 12 midnight, we were going to our board. So that was our routine. Worked very hard. And then once the study room was closed, and then there was another study room, so we were searching for other study rooms. Still it's there. Then we went to a place where medical students were studying. Right? We were quite happy that we were studying till 12 a.m. right in the morning. But then we went to where medical students were studying. You know how they study for the MBBS? The third year MBBS, it's a critical milestone. If they don't succeed, the entire thing is ruined. Medical college is over. The degree is over. So we went there, and still I could remember there was one of our friends who was Ayomal, now he's a district director in Polonnaru. And he was there, and you know how they were studying? They were studying almost 24 hours. They studied till, I think, I don't know, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. And then they put a cardboard sheet, slept there for 2 hours, again got up, brushed their teeth, washed their face, and they were studying. Then I asked Ayoma, are you targeting for a super first class? Then he told, no, brother, this is to pass the MBBS. They were studying to pass the MBBS exam while we were there to get a first class. So that's how students were studying. That's how they were The target-oriented, achievement-oriented people must study. Yes, we have to enjoy our lives, that's correct. But before that, we need to achieve certain things. We have to achieve certain things. Then only later on we can enjoy. But now what has happened is we enjoy our lives, postpone the hard things, the important things, and later on what happens is we ruin our lives. Remember our parents, our guardians who won't stay forever, right? Unfortunately. There'll be a day that comes that we have to stand alone. We have to earn ourselves. No one will be there. At that time, people who entertain themselves in their early lives rather than investing in their lives, I have seen what has happened. Not good. So they just survive for the sake of survival. Not enough to sustain themselves, let alone their families. It's a pathetic situation. So I have seen those people. This is my 20th year as a lecturer, as a professor. Then back to my story. So then studied very hard. Of course, then I was inspired by looking at Ayomal and his colleagues who were studying in medical wala for almost 24 hours. I did not do that. Of course, I did not want to be crazy, but we studied. So not only I got a first class, I became the best top by outperforming all, even the IELTS first. Right, IELTS second. Up to IELTS 16, I was just IELTS 17, but I outperformed all. How? Is it I have super brilliance? No. The only weapon I had was what? Hard work. You might say, no, sir, smart work is more important than hard work. Indeed, we all are smart. So then what differentiates us? Hard work. We all work smart. That's correct. Work smart indeed, but then work smart and also work hard. You cannot just work smart and ignore working hard. So I'm really happy that this lesson or this story I shouldn't tell you. You are the people who are here, but I should have told this story to people who are not here. I cannot tell the story to people who are not here. So that was a differentiation thing. So likewise, if you want to achieve something good in your life, you have to sacrifice. You have to commit yourself. You should really believe in that. So I had a dream to become a lecturer. Become a lecturer at Javardhanpur Department of Accounting. You require a lot of requirements. You had to have a first class and a lot of other things that behind that particular person to get into as a lecturer. You cannot just become a lecturer there. Now it's even hard. Right? So I wanted to be that, and I paid my price. There's a nice English saying that says there's no free lunch. There's free lunch? No, there's no free lunch. You have to put your effort to get it. You'll be given free lunch, but that's for long. So when I see the students, you all, I'm very happy that you are committed, you are here, while others are enjoying their long weekend, and maybe I don't know what they are doing at the moment. Anything productive. So likewise, we have to always make a decision in our lives, indeed. And life is all about choices and to do the correct choice. And once we choose an option, we have to live with that. Whether it's correct or whether it's wrong. You have to live with your choice that you make. That's life. Some people make correct choices. Some people make incorrect choices. So what to do? And afterwards, they will have to live with that. So I hope my good students will take this seriously and try to understand the importance of attending lectures and investing yourself right at this moment of your life. Because there won't be another moment that comes. Every day I'm going to be in 20s. No. There will come someday that you have to, of course, work hard to earn for your family, for yourself, as well as for your family. So if you have invested in yourself properly, getting your educational credentials, getting this SAP degree, indeed, and thereafter what you have to do? At the end of the story? No. What you need to do? Degree get exemptions and be a prominent chartered accountant. Why not? This is a degree program that has got the highest exemptions ever given. So why not you take that chance? So have the degree plus what? Number two, the professional qualification. So both together, the degree plus professional qualification. Always I tell that professional qualification is not what? Not a substitute for a degree. The degree and professional qualifications are not substitutes. They are what? Complete. They go hand in. Some people think those are substitutes, so we can do, okay, we can just get the degree and that's enough. No, that's not it. Whatever. Whatever. My lecturers 20 years back always preached that too. They came to the lectures and always they were preaching, right? Preaching and preaching and preaching, chartered cinema, chartered cinema. Those days ACC was not there that much, prominent. So they were always telling what? You chartered cinema, chartered cinema. And we took that to our hearts. And while we were doing the degree, we did, at that time, exemptions were not there. And the chartered qualification, there were 4 stages. And we had to pass the stage all at once. You cannot do subject twice. Now we have 3 stages, right? As well as you can pass subject twice. But now, those days it was nothing like that. So somehow we did that and indeed worked very hard in that as well and got subject prizes in chartered exams as well. And there was the first exam I could remember, the foundation exam. Worked again very hard and got the first in order merit. That translated to be in the island first in the chartered examinations at that time. Long back in 1999. I think you were not born at that time. So why not? I don't have any super brilliance. What I have is that working hard counts. Work hard. That's the only thing. My father told me, who is a teacher and now he's retired. My father told me, right, my way or highway. If you work hard, and if you, my way means he was telling us to study. What he was telling is, if you work hard, you can be someone. If you did not work hard, if you don't study, what will happen is, highway, I mean, sorry, road. Road is a place that you will end up. Indeed, it's absolutely. So still I remind him, okay, my way or highway. My way or highway. So still, I'm fortunate to have my parents with me. And still we remind ourselves what, and we are very grateful for what they have done for our teachers who gave us the correct advice. And we listened to them. We took their advice to our hearts. At the university, our lecturers, some are retired now, and they always promoted us to do what? Degree pass. But Facebook. No. Degree pass. Professional qualification. And also the third thing I would ask you to do is they also probably always encourage us to go to a prominent place to get your what? Training. Not just any place, a prominent, renowned place. Indeed, prominent places carry their own weights, right? Difficulties, they are what we had to work hard. So I had the option once, I wanted to choose a training organization. I asked my seniors. They gave different answers. They told, okay, there are audit firms, non-audit firms. Then within audit firms, there are smaller firms, larger firms, medium-term firms, medium-sized firms, like what they were telling. And they were telling that if you go to this particular small firm, you can get study leave, ample study leave. But on the other hand, if you go to this large firm, you get only annual leave and you have to divide it likewise, different things were taught. And absolutely they are correct. What was my choice? I was thinking not now, not for those 2 years. I was thinking the future. So I chose the hard path. What's that? I choose a big three. Now we have big three in Sri Lanka. At that time it was big five, but now it's big three. In the fall of Arthur Anderson, it became big four. And now in Sri Lanka, PwC left us. So now we have big three. So I choose one of the big three, that's Ernst Young. It was a massive workload indeed. And with that workload, I got a first class with gold for having the highest average marks in the degree program. What's the secret behind it? Do I have super brilliance? No. What's my weapon? Working. That's the only weapon that I have. Consistently working very hard. Not that I work one day very hard and the next day I totally mess it up. No. Consistency and working hard will take you a long way. Of course, we all are smart. If you are not smart, you cannot be here, isn't it? You have been able to enter this degree program because you are smart. Then what's the differentiator? The differentiator is working hard. So when I see the less number of students today, I just wanted to share that story with you because I believe that you are people who work hard. And who will sacrifice short-term pleasures for long-term harm. They are very much short-term oriented, isn't it? Very much short-term oriented. We look at only the short-term. For long weekend, let's enjoy. Let's sacrifice this one, and that's what in life you will have to make hard choices indeed. And if you work hard, consistently, and of course you are smart, right? Even the sky won't set the limits. People say the sky is the limit. No, even the sky won't set the limits. This new world is a brand new world, of course, with now about 10 years, 20 years back, if you see, the internet connection itself was a massive pain somewhere. It was so much slow. At that time, the www had a meaning. What's that? What's www? No, at that time there was a different meaning. Wait, and wait. So much slow. But now see how things have changed. With the advent of AI and also the internet as well as technology, massive developments are taking. You are very fortunate to be born in this era. So you have to take the maximum out of this. Some people are doing even at the moment. They are leveraging this and they are trying to be ultra successful. Ultra successful. So I have already given you the 4 pillars to be ultra successful as a student as well as a professional. What are the 4 things? Knowledge, skills, mindset, and what's the 4th one? What's the 4th one? The attitude. That will differentiate you from the rest. That will differentiate you from the rest. Those who are already working would know that. That harsh reality. Now, when I see that there's a job opening in such places, there are about 100, 200 people lined up, graduates, management graduates, like you. Then you have to ask yourself, why should I be recruited while there are another 150 people in the line, in the queue? Why? because you have that four things. What are those? The required knowledge, required skills, required attitude, and required mindset. So that's the harsh reality that we all will face within 3, 4, 5 years time. 3, 4, 5 years time, you all will face that reality. If periods are over, then after that you have to start your employment. And don't think that, particularly females, I would say that don't think that you could get married and that man or woman will, that time, that also might be normal, will sustain you. No. That's okay. So that's the situation that will be there, right? In time to come. So they have to face that, understand the reality, and invest in yourself at this time of your life. Okay. So we started chapter number 3 and we had the definition of this particular topic that we are going to start with. Today we are going to start with chapter 3, digital business department. Please take down chapter 3. Chapter 3. So last time we had a nice case study discussion on checking out. And we have two things in it. So please take down chapter 3, digital business department. Digital business impact. I hope my online students can hear. There are 5 students. The whole time. Bhaskar, Yumika, and Silva, can you hear us? Both you can hear. So let's go ahead with this. So please take down the topic, digital business infrastructure. This topic we are going to discuss about digital business infrastructure. To do a digital business, you are required to have the infrastructure. Not to have this necessary infrastructure. What is infrastructure that we require? Of course, we need the chairs to sit and ID card. Yes, we need the smart board and the AC machines are required. You can maybe boiling it. But the infrastructure is required. Thank you. So we will be looking at what is. So these are the learning outcomes, technical jargon. Right. Now let's see this definition. Let's define what digital business infrastructure is. What is that? So please read this definition and tell me what are the key features. For the 3 key components. Okay, I'll say there are 3 key components of digital business infrastructure. What are they? To read it very carefully, you'll see that there are 3 key components. What are they? Now, when it comes to digital business infrastructure, there are 3 things there. What are they? Then I'll ask you. What's digital business infrastructure? Digital business infrastructure. So look carefully, you'll see that there are 3 components of digital business infrastructure. What are they? Read it carefully. Then I'll ask. What are the 3 components? Digital business infrastructure. There are 3 things. There are 3 things. 3. What are they? Good. Excellent. You give the answer. Very good. Excellent. You are giving the correct answer. You got a sample and you had got it very correctly. Sample in research, what we do things on sample basis. And also in auditing, right, we do things on sample basis. So I got two samples, the two samples gave exactly correct answer. So what are three things here? One, hardware, software, and the network that connects the hardware. So what are the examples of hardware? When it comes to digital business, you need the hardware. What kind of hardware do you require? The computers, the devices, the mobile devices, as well as the other devices, like the servers, computer servers, which connects millions of other computers, servers, large computers also. And then you have the desktop computers, the laptop computers, and the mobile devices. So that's the hardware part in a digital business. Without that, you cannot run a business. Then what's the next one? The software. You require software. Software, you have two types of software, application software and what's the other type? System software. The operating systems, you have the browsers, and of course you need the application software like Word, Excel, etc. PowerPoint. So that's the software part. Then you need to network the different computers together. If not, can you do a digital business? You can't. You need the networking ability. So that's the network ability, and I'll teach you what this network. And there are network protocols like HTTP, HTTPS. Likewise, we'll discuss what are those features. So you will see, therefore, when it comes to digital business infrastructure, there are three components. What are those? Hardware, software, and the network. Very good. So you can take this, right? You can underline or you can take down these. There are three components of digital business infrastructure: hardware, software, and the network. Hardware, software, and the network. So you can, to reluctant to write, then you can underline, but you have to bring the slides. Printer, so maybe you can underline that in your example. So this is what digital business infrastructure means. Now, I want you to make think of that. I'm going to do a small task now. In a business, if there is no proper digital business infrastructure, let's say you are interacting, you are a customer of a digital business, and let's say that business does not have proper digital business infrastructure, then as a customer, what kind of issues that you would face? Please take down, list down, please take down the question. Which board and examination question sometimes back and maybe repeat it again. So, list down, issues, list down issues that a customer of a digital business, that a customer, list down issues that a customer of a digital business might face in the presence of inadequate digital business infrastructure. In the presence of inadequate digital business infrastructure. So this is done. So what you can do is you can get the assistant of AI. Of course, yes. But you have to know what it says. So if you don't understand, just ask them. Then it will teach you. So see, do the same question to put to ChatGPT and see what kind of answers are going to get. as if it is appropriate in the presence of what? Inadequate digital business environment. Inadequate. So please go to use ChatGPT and try to see. So what it means is if you don't have proper digital business infrastructure as a customer, if the business you are interacting is not having that, like proper digital business infrastructure as a customer, what kind of issues you would face? It was an examination question. Okay. So what are the issues that you might face? What are the issues? Let me ask, and I ask you whether you have encountered any issues as well. Maybe in the list, you tell me, right, 7 issues, 10 issues, right? And you can take them from in short notes or in short form, you can take them as well. We'll ask some of my good students. I didn't know nothing. I. So what are the issues? As a customer, you will face in the presence of inadequate digital business infrastructure. If you don't have proper infrastructure, what kind of issues you will face? And sometimes these issues you might also have. So if you don't understand a point, you can ask ChatGPT to elaborate. What are the issues? If you are a customer of a digital business that has no proper digital business infrastructure or malfunctioning of digital business infrastructure, what kind of issues you encounter? There are several issues that you might face. What are? You can take them, right? And you can. So then I'll be having the discussion, and we'll discuss one by one. And you can tell whether you have faced any of those issues. In some other classes, when I asked my students, they were telling they faced certain issues. They ordered something else and they got something else. They were hitting call. I got different things. They were double charged. Lack of payment options. There are several things that they have encountered. So you can say if you have faced any yourself, what are the issues? Kind of. Of course, you can discuss with your friend. So just a discussion. And we are taking the support of ChatGPT for the lecture. Why not we use technology in our lecture? Then lecturers think that ChatGPT is a demon. ChatGPT is the father of ChatGPT is not the father. Some lecturers think Shall we start? Let's start with you. Any issues that you personally encountered or excellent. If you don't have fast servers, like in your business, your customers will face what? Low website loading time. That's a huge issue. It will take 2-3 minutes to load. And as a website user, how long would you wait for a website to load? Maybe 1 or 2 seconds, isn't it? If it is taking more than 10 seconds, then you will just leave the website. Right? You will wait. Why issue? So you need no website loading time. What kind of?
Some of the website have limited payment options.
Limited payment option. In Sri Lanka, that's a massive issue. We have limited payment option. So still do we have PayPal? PayPal, no. So I know one of my friends who wanted to get PayPal for his digital business. What he had to do is he had to take the help of an Australian friend. Take PayPal to Australian friends and then reroute it to him. It was not easy. Why? Sri Lanka is not recognized. I could remember the earlier regime, early government, the digital minister was who? Naman Rajapaksa. And he was shouting that yes, we will have PayPal, but did not materialize. And now we expect those things to happen. Indeed, we have hope. PayPal is not there. Digital payment option. Inaccurate product information. The websites are not updated for malfunction. So an older version is being shown from the cache. So inaccurate product information. And sometimes, yes, we get it from students. Then I take my computer story. Did I tell my computer story? No, you didn't. I'll tell what happened. And I promise, I make promises very carefully. But once I make a promise, I deliver it. Whether it's good or bad. So I gave them computer a promise, and to date, I delivered. How that? Also, I'll explain to you. Right? Once the students come up with the issue, we'll see. Okay. We'll ask you. Issues. You know the exact issue I did. Yes, actually, the wrong stock information is provided to the customer. Right. So now let me tell you, because he told, so I made a promise to you. So wrong stock information. So long time back, I went to my postgraduate studies to Japan, and then I did my degree, the master's degree there. And after that, I wanted to meet my new supervisor. I did again quite well at my master's, right? There are about 120 students in that master's program. It was an English program there in Japan, very rare, but again in a prominent business school, right? Waseda Business School, I think Waseda Business School. So I did it over there. So there are about 120 students, and including Japanese, then English from British, the British were there, and then Americans were there, Canadians were there, of course, Japanese were there, then Chinese were there, as well as Thais were there. Very competitive environment. Again, what I did use? My weapon that I use everywhere. What's the most powerful weapon in this world, according to Mr. Nelson Mandela? Education. Not the hydrogen bomb, not the nuclear bomb, or not any other bombs, it's the education. So what I did was I worked very hard, extremely hard. I had to compete with not Sri Lanka, Japanese. Japanese are workaholics. They study, they work like nothing. The Chinese, even difficult guys. So they were working very, very hard. Then we had also Singapore, who were really nasty. Extra brilliant, and working extremely hard. But my target was what? To work hard. So what I did was I worked extremely hard indeed. And while my American friends were enjoying the Red City, just next to Tokyo, right in Tokyo, there was wards, and we were in the Shinjuku ward, and next to that, the Red City was there. They were enjoying their time there. I never stepped into the Red City or indulged in any of those activities because I knew that if I overstep, I'll be out of control. So not to go into regions that I really don't want. That's one of my points. Not to try, not to test. Drugs and some other things are there, which I would never test. Then work very hard, and what happened? Naturally, the result came. I became the bachelor. First not me. Highest application. Outperforming 119 other people who were not Sri Lankans but other nations. What's the reason? Super brilliance? Molecular not. No. Nothing like that. It's hard work. Hard, well planned, and systematic work. Consistent work. Not that I work one day and the next day I enjoyed myself. No. Consistently pushing myself to the extremes. That's the only way that you can achieve. Made Mother Sri Lanka proud. But meanwhile, while I did my master's, now I got the chance, my scholarship was extended. And I was now able to do my PhD. I got my scholarship for PhD extended. So now I met my supervisor. To meet my supervisor, I got that appointment. But usually, the case is that in Japan, when you meet your supervisor for the first time, you take something from as a souvenir. In Sri Lanka, that's not required. Right? When you come to meet your lecturers, you don't need to bring anything. But in Japan, the custom is there. You take something as a souvenir, particularly if you are a foreign student. So I thought of, okay, let's take something that's good. Usually what you would take? Tea. But tea is a perishable thing. And also once you consume, it passes from the system very quickly. So I didn't want something of that taste. So what I did was, I thought of taking a Sri Lankan batik. That person, the sensei or the professor would hang on the wall. And maybe remember me for some time. So I thought like that strategically and thought of taking that my supervisor. Then I went to cupcooker.com. I went to cupcooker.com and I saw there were nice batiks and I ordered one each. They told that they will take about 2 weeks. So I kept 2 weeks. The appointment was they give well in advance. So I was waiting. Yeah, okay. And now it's about 10 years that I have ordered. Still I did not get. So what I did was, since I did not get that, I sent an email. What happened to my email? I never get a response. To the date, I did not get a response. So what's the other reaction? Call. So I called them and I told that, why did you send this? I have made the payment, everything, but you have not sent it. Right. Then they told it's out of stock. I told, so how can you tell that? Because even at the moment it's there, it says in stock. And it's in your website. It's not updated. So the very thing that she was telling, right? Wrong product information as well as wrong stock levels being displayed on the website. Then I told them refund. At least refund because you ruined my, then I somehow got a batik from somewhere and I put that to myself. However, that was it for the store. But then I told refund, but the refund never came as well. Then I sent a final email where I made a promise. What then? I'll share this story. I'm a lecturer. I'll share this story with my future students. So I fulfill a promise again, which I made, right, 10 years ago. So yes, so they did not return the item, or they did not return the money, as well as they did not refund the money, as well as it was a disaster. But I was resourceful enough to get some item and take that to my professor. That was a different story, but that's the nature of crop. And in COVID-19 period, they were again in the news. Crop was again in news for the best digital company. මොකද නිවුස් වල ඉන්නේ? අපරක ආයෙත් නිවුස් වල වුණා මතුවෙන එක. මොකද? The Consumer Affairs Authority raided Kapruga for selling items more than the listed price in Sri Lanka. This kind of price එකට වඩා ඉක්මනට පහළ ලංකාව. It's prohibited to sell items than the listed price, and they are selling then. So they gave me the news. I saw that even the rate was being video taped and put by, I think, Google or something. Like they had, in fact, so I saw that and I told no one that bad business practice. But my experience with Lassana Flora was really Lassana. Lassana Flora was really a great company. And indeed, at that time, what I did was I ordered vegetables from them, not flowers, because COVID-19 it was. But my experience with certain like Kari's Tama again, Kari keep forgetting again. No, about COVID again, 5 years, but Kari still Tama out of stock. But they did not refund and they don't. But in Lassana Flora, if an item is out of stock, what happens? Their systems are not updated sometimes, and we order and the things go out of. But later they adjusted that. One time, real time, they made it. But if there's no an item unavailable, what they do is they immediately give us a gift off. So sometimes the item that is not available might be 300 rupees that I ordered, but it's not there. But they would give a gift out of 500. So that was their business. So indeed, stock levels are not, and the item descriptions, stock levels might not be updated appropriately in their websites. That's another serious issue that to mislead the customers and charge them. And another offense was that my communication was not addressed. They did not address my communication. That's very good. Let's ask you. Poor customer support. Of course, I got extremely poor customer support. So if you don't have proper digital business infrastructure, you won't get what? Customer support. The brand of viewer. More security partner is might be there. Because if you have, now I think you could understand sometimes back in target, right? The hackers got into the target system and robbed the customer details. Customer credit card info was saved in the sales and they robbed it. So security partner, that's a massive threat as well as privacy. Even SLT was hacked sometimes. I think about 2 years back, SLT servers were hacked. And in certain areas, there was no internet. Poor digital business infrastructure at Excel. Delayed transaction indeed. So you might wait for a huge amount of time to get your transaction approved and but also replenished. Sorry. Yes, RTA navigation, you have been taken here and there, you don't know what to do. And also with payments are there, it's very unfair. Yeah. Lack of personalization, indeed, if the infrastructure is not adequate, it's not on. In the future, I think something called localization. The localization, if you have good digital business infrastructure, localization is not possible. Limited communication channels might be only emails, might even not have all number listed. Indeed, that's a massive issue at way. That also shows what? Lack of digital business infrastructure. What? Yes, limited information because the websites are not updated and the details that are there is not Yes, they might be using third parties like logistics, and they might not be. And that's a massive issue in Sri Lanka. Logistics. They agree that they will deliver within 2 days, but they take 2 months. And still I did not get what my colleagues from. Yes, of course, they were ready. Calm, but very good, I think, got very good answer. Refund delays might be there as in Vancouver. I didn't never get that. I didn't get that. Yes, the quality of the product might be unverifiable. In fact, I was told by one of the students like you, in an earlier batch, they had ordered a Nike shoes from Sri Lanka at a discount price to see that it was damaged. Nike Sri Lanka will get the book. Because that, so that's kind of why the Nike stuff like about the shades.
Into track orders or shipment?
Yes, no ability to track the orders or shipments. You don't get the information. Okay, I got excellent one that we can key under the executive. Yeah, you know, we have a little extra well. Yes, like real-time updates of the gate tracking. The tracking is not available. I think you got excellent, information. Now, any one of you, and also something ordered, but something else comes. One of my students was told she had ordered a red color dress, and she got what? A blue color dress. And see what kind of issues might take place of these kind of poor digital business infrastructure and bad business practice. So that ruins the name of the digital business. And you might even have taken a decision not to do business online, not to do transactions online because of this. Sometimes it might be outright fraud. First case scenario. Right, good. You gave an excellent account of. So these are some technical problems. Website and apps are too slow. So that was the first kind of response I got from service. And another problem is that it's desktop okay, but not mobile ready. Mobile is suitable land. If the website is not mobile ready. How about your LMS? Is it mobile ready? Yes, I think so. They have made it mobile. How about your website? What about your website? So they have problems. We don't have it. Okay. So it also has to be what? Mobile ready. And indeed, in very near future, you will get your website. Already right now tested, and after 2 years of fight, I was able to see the website. Avadama border study meeting, I'm just mentioning about where's the website. Where's the website? Where's the website? So everyone cut the website idea. Right. So finally we got the website and we tested that as well. But now it has to be unveiled because now we have got a building nearby. Brand new building and a 7-story building nearby. And we'll have that additional facility as well in the future. What's that? So service expand. You have to be extremely happy. Is it expanding and prospering? Yes, indeed. Yes, it's a right place. Oh, right. The website and apps are unavailable. Not in the apps. Products and services not being delivered on time. Delays. The emails are not replied to, and privacy and trust concerns. One of the students were telling that privacy and hacking and cracking attacks might take place. Right. Now the next question is this. Please take this down. The next question is app versus web digital. Web versus app digital. Please take down this. So we have several issues. Maybe you might have had your own personal issues as well. Now let's come to app versus web digital. Please take it down. So what are the factors that should be considered to gain a possible examination? Now I have to make you ready for the exams. Right? Of course. So here we call this the app versus web edition or the web versus app edition. Please take it down and we'll deliberate on it. What do you mean by app versus web? So when it comes to digital research infrastructure, this is another question that we have asked. Whether we need an app, an additional app. All businesses have apps. So whether we need, that's another question. So this is called the app versus web edition. Web versus application. Right. We'll answer this question after having a break, isn't it? Break a current 1 minute. So we'll answer this question after that and I'll give you the time to break. So we put 15 minutes break. Now it's 4:30. Please come back here. 4:05. 15 minutes. Thank you.
Aku suka tiang mau beli ya 3 tahun.
Okay, students, shall we start? So, right. Welcome back. And now let's see. Now this is the case. Let's say you have a website for your company. And now someone has tells you that you need to also issue an app. Right? You have already a website and someone else tells you what? Introduce an app. So this is where now you might need to consider certain factors. You might need to consider certain factors. What factors you should consider whether you should go for an additional app or not. What are the factors? Right? What are the factors you should consider? But before that, shall we take the attendance? Attendance is online here. මට සිතෙන්නේ මොකටද? මට තියන් හිතනවා Okay, ready. Okay, are you up to coordinate? Give me a moment, I have to set some changes. Attendance? Let us go. Hello, it's some people. Let's check the oh, I did it. Should have been 29. All important. Then what is it? Let me start. One more. No, please try. I'm forever. Again. Thank you. Everyone's fine. Earlier the date was correct. Fine. You all recorded. Are there? All what is now? So shall I now sit you? Right, that's done. Okay, let's go back to this reference application. Right. So, what are the factors that you should consider in going for this deal? Whether you should go for what? An additional act. What are the unknown? What are the things that you should consider? Then after again, need that right? You can ask the ChatGPT. But ask it to give at least 5, 6 or at least 10 points. What you should consider. Now you have the web. Now someone tells you maybe your competitor has introduced an app. Your competitor has introduced an app, and now you are considering whether an app is required. So what are the factors you should consider? What are the factors? So we call this the web version application. So again, a target examination question. Good 5 star. So again, these are software, so digital business infrastructure. So what are the factors that should be considered? What are the factors we should consider? Okay, customers. So some people, older people, they might prefer website. Younger people, they might prefer them. Yes, that also. Games are gonna and so he's talking a very important point. The nature of site that you're if it is games, then would you play it using a desktop or would you more prefer a mobile device? An app. Nature of the item. Some items that cannot be delivered using website, like for example, Uber. Can a web browser based experience be given for an Uber ride? No. So number one, it is nature of the item. You have to look at the nature of the item. And if the nature of the item is more mobile friendly, then go for that. Very good point. We already gave 1 point. How about others? They have to give it the okay. What would be a cost again? Yes, indeed. Number one, cost. Apps. Become the thing there. Does app comes from thing there? No. You have to incur a cost. You have to pay the developer. Then after that, there will be a maintenance cost. So indeed, as accountant, the first thing that we'll be looking at is what? The cost of that. Whether what's the cost of that app and whether it's worth it. Cost is number one consideration based on to an app. Right. So we got 2 very good points. Number one, he was telling that the nature of the item. If it is like games and other things, then that might be more suitable rather than a website. Yes, the user experience. So what kind of user experience you might need to give? In an app, you can do a better user experience than website. Right? So the user experience that you try to deliver. In an app, you can do a better user experience for certain services. But for certain other services, you could give the website. So it depends on what kind of user experience you are trying to use your customer. And of course, the features. In apps, you can have several features. Even without internet, apps could be used. But websites could be used only when there is internet connection. So likewise, it's there. Okay. Higher. So how you are going to market that package? So it might be in different platforms you are going to market. Maybe in the Play Store, in the App Store, or where are you going to market? That also depends. Website need not be marketed in that way. But here for the app, you have to market what platforms you have to use and how you have to advertise. Performance and speed, indeed. If you want a better performance and better speed, an app might be much sooner. Because apps are already installed on your computers and it's quite very fast than websites. Engagement and retention, particularly that also relates to the nature of your customers. If these customers are people who are older, then they will prefer what? The website. Customers like you, younger generation would prefer what? Apps rather than web, because you are using mobile devices. A very good point. The nature of the customers, nature of the product. Just find customer experience again. If you want to do a better customer experience, apps might be more suitable. Platform dependence, indeed, right? So sometimes the platforms might be Android or it might be iOS. So what platforms are you talking about? Or it's cross-platform. What do we have cross-platforms? Cross-platform. That could be run in any platform. Cross-platform. iOS or Android or any other Linux. Market competition. What your competitors are doing? Are those guys who like what? Apps. Are those also like apps? While they are having apps, if you have only a website, that's not good enough. Offline access, provide offline access while the website might not. Performance and accessibility. Accessibility is more high in apps. Indeed. Very good points. Ease of access. I think he came up with a very, very important point. Right? When someone comes and asks you to do certain things, right, first thing that you have to ask is whether that is aligned with your goals. Now let's say if I approach Richard Branson, who's Richard Branson? Okay, interesting. Okay. Who is Richard Branson? Who is Richard Branson? He is the Virgin Atlantic founder as well as chairman. You know what's his net worth? 400 billion US dollars. 400 billion US dollars. Now, if I ask him that I'll give you $2 million and I'll send my private jet to America, oh, he's in UK. I'll send it to UK, my private jet, and I'll ask him to come and pay him $2 million to deliver this lecture. Would he come? $2 million, and I will provide all facilities to send my private jet, and he will deliver the lecture, and he will go back. I'm going to again put him back there. Would he come? If I called him and I told, okay, Richard, I'm going to give you $2 million or pounds, right? And would you come? Would he come? First of all, he would never answer the call. Who would answer the call? His secretary. And his secretary would tell only one thing. What's that? Thank you very much, Professor Ajwal, but at the moment, Mr. Branson's strategic priority is not this. So be polite and decline. They will decline $2 million. Why? Because it's not his strategic priority at the moment. He has to think about more bigger projects than that, than delivering lectures for 2 hours or 3 hours. So likewise, we have to think whether developing an app is your strategic priority. In fact, So therefore now let's say a friend asks you to come. Right? Maybe tomorrow you have a lecture and the friends come, okay, let's go somewhere and have a off time. Then what you should say? At the moment, right? Enjoying myself is not the strategic priority. Coming to the lecture is my strategic priority. So likewise, you have to ask yourself always, right, whether it's your strategic priority. I think you have heard about the 80-20 rule. What's the 80-20 rule? The Pareto principle. What does it say? 20% of the things that you do, you 80% of the return in your life. Other 80% is non-value adding things. But 20% of the things that you do in your life, you 80% of your return. Let me put that to business context. Let's say you have 100 customers. Are all customers giving the same revenue? No. What Pareto says is, usually there will be 20% of your customers, that means 20 customers, you 80% of your return, 80% of your business. So if you are a prudent entrepreneur, you will be concentrating on whom? That 20 or the other 80 who are naggers, complainers, and time wasters. You will concentrate whom? On that 20 who gives 80% of your risk. So that's the 80-20 rule that applies in a business plan. Same thing applies in our lives. Look at the activities you do. Just list down, maybe during a week. If you see very carefully, 20% of the activities will give 80% of the return now as well as in future. So attendance in this lecture comes under what? That 20% or the useless 80%. That 20%. So always if someone asks you, shall we do this? Shall we go to watch a movie? Or shall we just have a some fun time? Then ask yourself what? Is it my 20%? Is it my 20% that gives 80% of the return in this life, in now as well as in future? So keep that in mind. Then sir, what we can do with that 80%? So sometimes you cannot avoid that 80%. The best example for me is the paying bills. Every month, I will have to pay 4 bills. What are the bills? Electricity bill, then what? Water bill, the internet bill, and the phone bill. Take a hammer month again. So I was used to pay them in queues, and sometimes I forget. But what happens if I forget? They cut off the internet connection. Let's say the internet again. I have forgotten, and I have to wait. Usually waste 1 or 2 hours in paying the bills. What I did? So is paying bills for staying in a queue for 3 or 4 hours, is it my strategic priority? Is it my 20%? What's my 20%? Delivering lectures is my 20%. That's where I could have an impact on my students. Not paying bills, staying in the class. So what it says is, for the rest of the 80% that does not add value, what you should do? 1, delegate. Delegate to someone else. Or automate. Or delete. How can you automate? Can you automate? Yes, that's exactly what I did. I automated my bill payment. I went to people's app and I set up a recurring transaction for next 24 months for those 4 bills. Now I don't waste 2 hours per month and automatically the bills are paid. So what I did, I used the power of automation. So that 80% things that does not add value, I automate. Then number 2, delegate. What's delegation? Give to someone else. Maybe I could now ask my wife to do that. Right? But let me give you another example of delegation. Now I have a small yard, a small now take a so it has to be clean. I have a small yard, a small garden, a very small one, but it has to be maintained. So what I could do? stop lectures and for 8 hours or 9 hours do that. What I can do? I can ask the poor guy to come, pay that person 3,000 rupees per day and get it done. So what I did? Exactly. While I'm doing lectures, then 3,000 rupees for the entire day, he very happily maintains that and goes home. That's for what? Delegation. The 80% of things that does not add value, please delegate. Automate, delegate, and what's the third one? So when I said 80% of the delete. What can you delete in your life? Number one, Facebook. Again, not delete. Remove those things or minimize those things as social media. And maybe you might even consider deleting some people from your life. You really want to save your life from that. From that 80% hassle, 80% from trouble, 80% of your heart rate. Delete. Delete plan. Very diplomatic. So that's where it comes. What's your strategic priority? At the moment, what's your strategic priority? As students, education. Getting this degree and being qualified and then being double qualified by getting what? A professional qualification as well. So concentrate on that. That's one of your 20%. Facebook is not within that 20%. Some unnecessary friends. You think what friends are there? So they are time wasters. They are time wasters. I am a Muslim by the way, but in Buddhism, they classify friends into different categories. I'm not promoting a religion while I am Muslim, by the way. Right? I see in Buddhism they classify friends in different ways. There is a classification called, there is one category called Apaya Sahaya. Let me tell that in English for the benefit of the students who don't know. My friends tell me, my Buddhist friends tell me, Apaya Sahaya. Who is that Apaya Sahaya? Who helps you to go to hell. So delete them. Delete them from your life. Then there are certain friends called Kalyana Mitra. Kalyana Mitra means what? They will stand for you for whatever reason they will be there. Right? It's Apaya guys. Right? Who will lead you to hell? They will lead you to hell. So delete them. ASAP from your life. Like all the delete color. Yeah, dependent on the what are you going to say? So what I'm trying to tell is, I just joking. Be very careful and be choosy in doing activities as well as choosing activities. So certain things will be the 20% which adds 80% value in your life. So list down your activities and see. List down your activities and see what you can delegate. You'll be surprised what could be delegated, what could be automated, and what could be deleted from your life. Maybe some apps in your phone, on your phone could be deleted forever. And you can have peace after. See what are that. So I did certain strong decisions some time back. I found out in 2000, it was in 2007 when I first tested Facebook. And after certain months, I understood this is not for me. So I deactivated. I did not delete it. I deactivated from that year to date. Because I did not see any value that I could have. Facebook. Why did I delete it? Because if I delete that, someone else could take that account. The account is there, deactivated. So no one can take that account. So I did not delete it. I deactivated and it's safely deactivated from that. But maybe you have to live with Facebook, that's perfectly fine. I do advertising in Facebook for my programs and other things, that's good. But other than that, I find it not that much interesting. See what are the things that are that 80% that doesn't add back. Then see what are the 20% of people, 20% of the things, 20% of the activities in your life that adds back. That will make a massive difference in your life. It's a strategic thing. If you ask Richard Branson, he's practicing these things. That's what he has 400 billion, while our people are struggling to find money to eat the next meal. That's the thing. Because they use proper strategies, proper tools in their lives. So the thing that you will have to ask yourself is, when you are going to introduce this app, with this what? Our strategy. With this 20% of things that use 80% of the value. Because of a competitor does, you don't need to do it. You have to see whether it's a, so that's what he told. Whether introducing an app is aligned with what? Our strategy, our objectives. Because it depends on the nature of the business. Now, let's say for an example, I'm selling bricks. Our bricks manufacturer. I manufacture bricks. Do I need an app for it? I don't think so. But on the other hand, if I'm going to use taxi service like what? Google or Picnic, then I require. Of course. Yeah. So nature of the item, nature of the service that you are trying to give might require. Good point. So I wanted to tell you about Richard Branson. Also, an important device that you can, a mechanism that you can apply in your life, that's called the 80-20 principle, or which is known as the Pareto principle. So if you are very serious to be successful in your life, apply the 80-20 principle in terms of people, in terms of activities, in terms of your even thoughts. Right? Only 20% of the thoughts might give you 80% of the record. The rest, you should delete, delegate, or not. Right. Let's see. What are the other factors they should consider? Versus rate. Security and credit, very good. So another concern might be that maybe apps are having more security than websites. And because sometimes it's like violating potential, the website might not have. Marketing and engagement. Competitive advantage, rather competitive solution, right? Fast access. Apps might be more accessible than web. Device capability, indeed, device. Yes. Yeah, indeed. Now you can have one app rather than having several websites. Is it? That's what you meant. Indeed. So might be now, and you can even continue the website. Right. I think we had a nice discussion. And these are the answers, in fact. You gave excellent answers. So we got assistance from AI. Indeed, that's good. So here, the first one I will again place is the cost. As accountants, we'll be looking at the cost. And but here, they have placed number one as well. Whether it's our strategic priority. But Richard Branson would always. You get an opportunity, you will see whether it's my strategic priority. Let's say now you are offered a job. Rather than internship, you are offered a job. Let's say they pay 200,000. And but the problem is on Saturdays and Sundays you cannot come for the lecture. Would you accept it? You would say what? Thank you, but no thanks. Why? It's not my strategic priority. Your strategic priority is what now? Doing this degree, not doing a job. For 200,000 you can get the job, but that will be ever the thing that you will receive. But later on, once you get the degree and once you got a professional qualification, you might get even 5 million per month. 5 million per month. And if you just did a job rather than with this degree, forever you might be getting 200,000 or less. Then, do we build our app for leverage on existing apps? Is it a free app or paid app? Sometimes you don't need to have an app at all. You can use others' app to advertise. If your intention was to advertise, you can use someone else's app to advertise to. For example, what? Spotify. Spotify, when you see, like the free version advertises others' advertisement. That I'm using often is Truecaller. How many of you are using Truecaller? Yes, indeed, I can see it's a good thing to use. Then you know from whom that you are receiving calls, right? And also you can save it easily. So Truecaller. In Truecaller, when you use Truecaller, the free version, you get what? Advertisement. You get advertisement. So that means those advertisers have not actually developed Truecaller. They are leveraging, they are using Truecaller to advertise it. So if that was your intention, you don't need an app at all. You can pay another service like Truecaller and advertise your products there. Free or paid apps? For premium apps? Which category of application, the customer nature, how to promote apps, whether it's in iOS or what platform. Likewise, these are certain things that you could consider. I got excellent answers, and these are repeated examination question at the final exams. But whether you should go for an app while having a web. So two questions I discussed today particularly. What's the first one? What's the first question? Here, as customers, if you have, right, if you use a service of a digital business that doesn't have proper digital business infrastructure, so what kind of issues they could face? That was the first question I discussed. Then what's the second one? App versus web. Right. I think I got very good answers. That's nice. And how to refine and line up feedback. And also remember, having an app is costly. Not only you have to pay for the developers at the beginning to develop that, as well as you have to do what? Later on. They mentioned. Because you have to maintain that. The customers will have bugs, of course, will be having complaints. The app might crash. The iOS or the Android might be updated and this app might not work. So you have to pay maintenance cost as well. You have to pay for the developer to maintain. To upgrade that, new features will be requested by your customers. You have to address them as well. So it's not an easy thing to have an app. Unless you want to get blamed and criticized on the social media for a buggy app. So that's taking the mobile app versus citation. So these are some of the criteria. Cost as an accountant, number one, the strategic vision, demand for a mobile app, user experience, integration with the web, and the regulatory and legal compliance. No one told that. I think some people might have told that. Right, to develop and introduce an app, you might need to, in a certain country to operate that app, you might need legal compliance. Because you are selling the customer's data in an app. In a web, you don't do that. In an app, you might be selling the customer's data. So Data Protection Act of that particular country, you have to apply. So likewise, there might be legal and regulatory compliances that with that something. You might need to think of that first. Then App Store preference, data privacy, those things are there. Right. Then, as the final thing that we are going to do, we are not going to go after 6, of course, by taking another 10 minutes, we finish the lecture. Right? So my question now is, we'll now look at what do we mean by, you don't need to write down, just write down the topic that's here, augmented reality. And I'm going to show you a video clip, and with that we can go for it. So it's just so simple. So simple. Augmented reality. Augmented reality. So take seriously That's 80-20 principle, huh? And tell me next day, what did you delete? How the delete correct? What did you automate? Right. This will today wind up. I'm going to show you a small video. But let me give a small introduction to this video. Tesco is an American company. Tesco is an American company. It's in the FMCG industry. What's FMCG? Fast moving consumer goods. FMCG, right? Industry. It's like our King Super in car. Right? In America. Very good brand. Walmart, Tesco, these are such kind of, it's a company of that name. So they wanted to go to the Korea, not North Korea, but to the South Korea. They wanted to go to South Korea and they wanted to go to the FMCG industry, supermarket chain. They wanted to develop and they wanted to introduce a supermarket chain. But they faced a massive problem. What's that? Already there are competitors, well established local players in South Korea. Can you tell me what's a critical factor to be successful as a supermarket? A supermarket to be successful, what's a critical factor? Now, if you go and see supermarkets, or let's say these, what's larger than even the store? So it's another एक विशाल, मगर parking is really required. Actually, to be successful as a supermarket, one of the strategic factors, the critical factor is the location. But unfortunately, Tesco is too late to South Korean market. Because why? Already the competitors have got the best location. Now location advantage is low. But they used a certain strategy and within a short period, they became almost number one in South Korea by using one of the digital business strategies. That's called augmented reality. Now let's see the 2-minute video that will tell you how they became number one while having a strong local company. Right? While having a very strong local competitor, they came into this South Korean market and became number one. How did it? They used the strategy called augmented reality. With the 2-minute video, we go home. But to tell you what can digital business strategies do and what kind of competitive advantage that could be given. Let's see. This is a YouTube video. I hope it works. Keep working. This is not working, don't worry. We will go home. YouTube bargain right? And there are two Koreans who are discussing boyfriend and girlfriend. They want to oppose that. What do we? Very good. So let me move the caption and start from the beginning. So I think the sound system is the sounds are not required. You can see what's going on. Just see very carefully, and I'll give you the explanation. So Tesco is an American company who has just ventured into South Korea. But then rebranded as Home Plus because they didn't want to have Tesco as the brand. But eMart is the local company. It has already got the strategic location. So how did they do? Now they are showing the status. There's a store of 50 people. How is that? Oh. Actually, these are where? These are called subway stations. What are subway stations? These are train stations. Bus stations. And what they did was they pasted what? Pictures of products, not the real products. These are called pictures of the products they were pasted. So while the passengers are staying for waiting for a train, a bus, they could do stop. That was their thing. So that's the train going. Yeah. While they are waiting for the train to go home, they are shopping. Not going to a shop, but going to. Now see the result. So that's the test for home pass. They use a strategy called, right? Just one word and more. They used a strategy called what? Open the trade. So they were shopping with what features and a QR code. It was not the real product, what features. That's called augmented reality. Okay, we'll have more discussion tomorrow. Augmented reality and certain kind of other thing. So wish you all the best and thank you very much. So see you tomorrow at 12. Good night.